Okay, hi and welcome to another episode out and about in the garden. So I wanted to show you my broadleaf thyme. So broadleaf thyme is also called Spanish oregano. It's got a few other names as well, and obviously thyme is the the very fine, smaller plant that you would get, but it's got a very lovely smell. So I wanted to give you a little tour and see how well this particular plant has been doing. I mean, it's doing so well, it's almost becoming invasive. It's like if you imagine, I've cut back. These two were covered. When I first put them there, they're just buckets. It's got some coconuts in that I was told I might be able to plant them and get some coconut trees. I'm willing to try anything. And if anybody's got any tips on how to, there are loads of tips on the internet. So, trying out, that's what I like to do. Try it out and see if I can do it. So anyway, this, that's one there, sorry, these, and then in this bucket, I've got loads of them that I had been using the leaves. Anyway, so broadleaf thyme, look at this. Look how big, look how broad they actually are. I mean, when you see them in the shops, I've never seen them this broad. Look at that. It's amazing. And they seem to be doing really well in this particular soil. So in this particular area of the garden, everything seems to be growing really, really well, especially the broadleaf thyme. And the other reason why I'm growing broadleaf thyme is that in its leaves is an essential oil called thymol, and there's another oil which I'll put the name of that, and they're antimicrobial and also used in pesticides. So when I read that, I thought, well, I've got all of this broadleaf thyme grown in my garden, so I, as well as wanting to be organic, if I'm dealing with pests, I want to deal with it in an organic way and the best way possible. So one of the things I started to do was soak the crushed leaves in water, and you do see the separation of the oil from the leaves. It's really quite good. The only thing is the water kind of smells once obviously once it's been sitting. But if you can find a way, if there is a way of, maybe you could blend the leaves and then use it. Actually, that's a really good idea, because the leaves break really quickly, easily. And the other thing I do when I'm out in the garden, if I've got kind of short sleeves, I would just take off a leaf and I would just crush it, and you get like the water and the oils, and I just rub it on my arm, and the smells beautiful. It's got a beautiful smell. So what I would do with this is very often I just scatter it around the plants. This particular crocus plant was infested with some sort of it's probably green fly, and so all I did was cover around it with the broadleaf thyme, crushed some up. I kind of scraped off the offending pests. That's the other thing about growing in the garden. I've become less kind of squeamish about insects and dealing with them. And so I started to think, well, wherever this grows, you will have less of an opportunity for insects to come. And so I started taking cuttings, and without even realizing how well they grew, just started planting it. And here's some recent ones that I've done, but that's I've had to cut that back this again was just from a cut-in, and it's just kind of spread. And so what I try and do is keep it, you know, within that kind of shape. All of this is, you know, invading onto my lemon tree, so I want to cut back all of this. And then what I use it for, as I say, is, you know, you can chop and drop that, but I would chop and drop it around other plants, crush it up, use it as a pesticide, use it to ward off anything that maybe doesn't like the smell. And I'm trying it on the snails as well, to see if I can combat, you know, especially when I lay out seedlings, whether I can combat the snails who seem to have a feast. So I've grown it in quite a few places because I want to harvest it, use it in cooking. You can make a tea from it. There's so many different things, and when I learn how to extract the essential oils, I have a ready-made field here. So here's some more here, and then I've got some more growing. I've just got it, as I said, I've got it growing all over. Got some growing in here. The snails come in here and they kind of they came up here and they ate some of the, I put some just squash seeds and other seeds in here. The grass is a problem. This is from next door. So they're dropping their seeds. So every now and again I come and just pick out the grass. So in here I'd kind of just, again, experimenting, put some ginger in here. It's an old wheelbarrow, so rather than just putting it in a dump, why not make use of it, and the plants can grow over and, you know, just have another space for growing, you know, growing stuff. So the other place I put it, because I know how quickly it grows, is I put some over here. So as I said, I'm trying to grow a hedge, but I just thought, have an area where, look, I mean, this is the soil. It gets very dry, it cracks, it's full of rocks and stones. But if I can grow broadleaf thyme here, that is great. And this then will be another supply. It's good ground cover. I mean, if you look at how much it's covering over there, it's good ground cover. But as I say, the other desire is to have it and utilize the leaves. These are not growing as well. I mean, I put these in about 3 weeks ago, just from cuttings. They're growing, they've definitely grown. The leaves, actually, if you look at the top, those ones, the leaves are kind of quite broad compared to the others. So actually, it's not too bad. Maybe what I'll do is just get some of these Mexican sunflower leaves and just chop them up and put them down here so that they can grow. But this, if it grows like the others have grown there, it will make a great temporary kind of barrier between us and the guy who has the farm next door. Obviously, you know, you want your privacy and security, so where you know, with a hedge is better, but temporary measures, if you can put in temporary measures, then until you can get the other ones put in. Okay, so another place that I've put the broadleaf thyme is at the end of some of the rows. Again, just to provide, you know, if it helps with the you know, warding off certain insects, then that's good. One of the first places I'd put them was here beside, we've got some sweet potato growing here, and again we had the problem with the those little moths, don't know what they are. It didn't seem to do much of a job in terms of getting rid of them, but it grew really well. So I don't even know how big this plant is. As I'm trying to get back into the sweet potato, I keep breaking off another piece. but we don't want any more pieces broken off because I've got all of these to plant. And what I'm going to do is I've got some tins, I've painted them and just going to plant them, and they can be given away as gifts. They make a nice little live gift for somebody, and broadleaf thyme is just so easy to grow. So I'm going to leave in the comments below, I'm going to leave other things, other beneficial uses for the broadleaf thyme, and I really do recommend you try it for yourself if you can get hold of it. You can get some variegated types, but yeah, it's been a pleasure to grow, and it's been a pleasure to grow because it grows so well. And so, you don't get that, oh my gosh, everything's dying back. So things have died that I put in the ground, but these have grown really well. Over there, I had this invasion of these, I don't even know what they are. They were horrible. There might still be some here. Yeah. See that? Some of you might know what they are. Anyway, so they were just all over this plant. I mean, I didn't know what the plant was. I left it there because I just wanted to give it an opportunity to grow so that I could, see what it was. And they just invaded. I was cutting it back one day, as I did, once a week. I just cut it back because it grows really quickly. And I just saw this. I didn't know when they came. They just covered the thing, and so I ran in. And I've tried to cut it back, tried to get rid of it, and I took cuttings of the broadleaf thyme in a hope that it would scare them away from here altogether. But obviously it's not scared away because you can see that one. Is that the same thing? Yeah, you can see it quite happily there. So but I wanted to also improve this then area, because again, if the soil is really well, highly nutrient, then you're less likely to get bugs, and that's what I've been told, and that's what I've been hearing. And so it's just like, I've got to get the soil to a state where it is doing really well. So I'm taking my cues from other parts of the garden and seeing what's happening and how comes these are growing really well, and trying to incorporate it in other places. And so that's where you can see the mulch and stuff like that, but then that's for another story. But yeah, just utilising, again, drop in the broadleaf thyme there. It's going to nourish the soil. I'm not planting it there. I don't particularly want any more of them growing there because I've got all of these along here. But nourishing the soil and utilising it and seeing how I can use it in the garden. So if only you were near enough to get one of these cuttings. So I'm going to give them away for free. But obviously can only do it if you're in my location. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and thanks for watching the video, and look forward to sharing another out in the garden